Hey you guys, welcome back. If you guys are new, my name is Lauren and I'm a nurse that's here for all your science-backed skincare reviews, also with some makeup thrown in. And today's going to be strictly makeup. I'm going to be talking about the brand new Marc Jacob Cafe Au Lait release that I was so excited to get my hands on. I immediately saw it released on his, was it on his website first? I think it released on Sephora and his website the same day. But I saw that I could get the 15% off if I signed up for his email, which I did, and I was able to get some money off. So I ordered it from him. I got it lickety split. I'll include the link down below too, by the way, and just a tip, just sign up for that email link and you'll get the 15% off. So I could not wait to pick up some of these products. I did pick up the Cafe Au Lait 200. This is the lighter of the two palettes, and then also the Marc Jacobs Extra Shot Foundation and Concealer. Could not wait to try these out. I haven't really tried out too many Marc Jacob products. A lot of his lip products I love. My one favorite lipstick is unfortunately going out of stock. Marc Jacobs, bring back Sonic Truth, please. It's like my favorite lipstick shade. But I really wanted to give these a go. I know one of my girlfriends swears by his one foundation, so I was so pumped to try this out. I practically ran to my door when I heard that UPS truck pull up yesterday. I immediately tried everything on, and then I did a wear test yesterday, which I'll include in this video, and then we'll do a full try on. You guys can see how these apply. You'll see swatches, also the details of all these products as well. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and get started. All right, so we'll talk about the foundation first, and then you guys will see me swatch the palette when I do the try on. But the foundation comes in 30 shades. You're getting 16 mLs in here for $39 USD. In words of Kathleen Lights, that's expensive. This is definitely an expensive product, but I will say a little bit does go a long way. You need a very thin application. You'll see in the try on that I did have to apply 2 layers to achieve full coverage, but I still didn't need a lot of product. A little bit does go a long way. So hopefully this will last. We'll see, but it's not cheap by any means. But I feel like the bottle and the packaging is so impressive. It's a heavy glass package. I love the gold details, the white writing. It's definitely my vibe. So I love the packaging on this. 30 shades in here, which is pretty good, and they look like they're pretty even across the board. And just getting into the palette real quick, this does come in 2 shades. The deeper shade to me looks like it could have been a little deeper. I know it's based on his, I think he has 3 bronzer shades. But still, I feel like if you're going for a dark palette, I don't know, the bronzer could have been a little deeper in my eyes. But let me know your comments down below. I would love to know what you guys think. Now, I can look at a shade range, a shade chart, and say, okay, it looks pretty equal across the board. There's an equal number of light to dark shades, although it looks like there's some deeper shades lacking here. But looking at a palette with just 2 options, who am I to say that the deeper palette is going to work for everybody of a deeper skin tone? I just cannot say that. I can't speculate. Let me know what you guys think. It just looks a little light in my eyes. And we'll talk more about the color selection when I do the try on, but yeah, more on that to come. Now, going back to the foundation claims, the claims have me so excited. This is what pulled me in. So a 2-in-1 caffeine infused concealer and foundation with natural looking is my kind of jam, with full coverage and all day wear to visibly brighten and regenerize all skin types. Full coverage, natural finish. It has oat extract, which is very calming on the skin. Lots of nice moisturizing ingredients in here. And I saw this ingredient, this caprylic triglyceride, pretty high up on the list, and that immediately caught my eye. I know it doesn't sound very exciting, but this ingredient is a really nice emollient that's found in one of my favorite concealers of all time by IT Cosmetics, the Bye Bye Under Eye. I did a whole, foundation, a whole concealer review, and I was trying to compare, you know, why certain ones didn't work out for me and why others did. And it seemed like every hydrating concealer that I really liked had this caprylic triglyceride in it. So I think that, you know, attributes to this rich emollient creamy consistency. So I was pumped to see that, and just all the other claims. Full coverage. I like the fact that it was a concealer and foundation in one. I tend to go for lighter coverage now, but I like to spot conceal. I do feel like a little bit goes a long way. It's super creamy and you can blend it out pretty easily. You only need, you know, thin layers. I did need 2 coats to achieve full coverage, but I did not need a lot of product whatsoever. So I do feel like this will last me a long time. But otherwise, I think the size is perfect for your makeup bag, and I think I'm really gonna enjoy it just for an everyday makeup product, just to even out my complexion. So, okay, with that all said, let's go ahead and get into the try on. All right, so the first time I applied this, I kind of just dotted this where I normally apply my concealer, and then I went in with a second layer and just kind of spot concealed. And that seemed to work. It seemed to layer really nicely. It feels really creamy going on. really silky, and I love the doe foot. So it's this oversized doe foot. It kind of has a cup shape to it, so it has that little tip to it, so it's easily, you know, able to get in the inner corners of your eyes. I think the shade is a little bit light for me. I don't know, I probably could have went one shade deeper, but being that it's in the winter time right now, it's working. Now, I was immediately impressed with how well this spread, being that this is a concealer slash foundation product. I don't know why I thought it was gonna be another Rare Beauty situation. That foundation, oh man, was immediately, first of all, so difficult to spread and just immediately drying on application. But this already feels hydrating, it's light. Now, I'm not getting super full coverage. It claims to be full, but as you can see, I still have a lot of melasma poking through here. Oh man, I knew this was gonna happen. Second day of using this, there's already a ton of foundation spillage on the bottle, which is pretty annoying, but I feel like that always happens with these oversized concealer bottles. All right, so see, now that I'm going in with this second layer, I was able to cover up that hyperpigmentation. So for me, I'm definitely gonna need 2 coats to achieve full coverage on this. Now, the right side of my face is already starting to set, but as you can see, I have a little bit of a sheen to my skin. It sets to this beautiful satin-like finish that looks really creamy and just fresh on the skin. Yeah, now that I'm in the lights, I feel like yesterday it didn't look this light, but definitely could have afforded to go a shade deeper. I just turned down the lights a little bit so you guys can see how this really looks like on my skin. See how hydrated my face looks? I was very impressed by that, being that this was also a concealer product. I did not expect this hydration. So my dry skin is happy right now. Now I will just go ahead and set my T-zone. I'm gonna go in with the Glossier Powder Powder. This is a very lightweight, like airbrushed finish powder. Definitely my kind of powder, not too heavy. Just a little light dusting here. I'm using the BK Beauty brush, which I love so much. So soft and silky, and it gives that like diffuse application. Now I wanted to pull you guys in close so you guys can see how I set my under eyes. You can see I already have some creasing. Now I noticed yesterday as it creased, like as it settled, I could pat it out and then I would get a smooth finish. And then I would do a light dusting of powder, and that seemed to smooth things out here. But you can obviously see that I had some creasing kind of right off the bat there. But then see how smooth it looks? Very light dusting underneath the eyes, and that really seems to do the trick and smooth everything out. All right, so now we're going with the palette. I picked up the shade 200. This is the lighter of the 2 versions. This is the Tan-tastic Glow. And I was immediately pulled in by this first of all, the blush was so pretty. My kind of blush. It's more on the nude pink side. It has maybe slight peachy undertone. And then the bronzer too. It's more on the neutral side. It definitely has a cool undertone, which I appreciate in a bronzer because I like to use my bronzer to contour as well. Now, the highlight, this is where we went wrong here. The highlight is gold, and for my light skin tone, this just looks out on my skin, and you guys will see how it looks. I can do a very light dusting and it looks okay, but I was so confused by the color selection. The deeper palette looks like it has more of like a pinky undertone, so I'm not sure what they were thinking with the shade of highlight here. Very confused by that, but I'll show you guys how this looks on my face. I'm gonna go in, let's go in with the bronzer first. I'll be using this Eco Tools blush brush. I thought this would be the perfect shape because see how it's kind of narrow, but you really could get a fluffier brush in these pans. This palette is huge, by the way. I was blown away. I've never owned any of the bronzers, so I did not expect this to be this huge. So you're definitely getting a lot for your money, so I was excited about that. All right, so we'll start off with a little cheek contour here. I always like to start off higher up and then blend the powder down so I'm not getting like an intense contour right off the bat, just to make it look a little bit more natural. Yeah, I love the shade for a contour and even a bronzer too. Yeah, this is a beautiful shade. I can see why everybody loves these bronzers. Perfect shade. It's so creamy. It goes on so seamless. Really, really nice. I'm excited about this. I'm tempted to buy the full size of this bronzer. I've seen them at TJ Maxx recently. I don't know if they're discontinuing the full size, but I'm really liking this. It actually comes off a little bit warmer than I thought it would on the skin, which I'm okay with because it still gives that natural sun-kissed look, but it's still cool toned enough to, I think, work as a contour. So let's contour up my nose here. What do you guys think of the packaging? I think it's so gorgeous. Although I was not getting coffee vibes right off the bat, I actually immediately went to a 1980s bathroom sink. Not to say that the packaging reminds me of a bathroom by any means, but if you guys lived through the 80s and maybe even early 90s, I feel like everybody had this beigey marble pattern in their sinks. My grandmother had it, we definitely had it. I think we even had a peachy toned marble pattern in one of our bathrooms also. So it kind of brings me back to childhood, gives me those nostalgia vibes, but I don't know. I didn't really necessarily get coffee here, but I still think the packaging is so pretty. I love the gold details, and I cannot get enough of how large this palette is. I love these all-in-one palettes. They just are so convenient for me. As a mom on the go, I like to just reach in my makeup bag, pull out what I need, and just be done. So because of that, this is going to be a staple in my makeup bag. And this blush shade too, like I was saying, I just love so much. It's also very creamy, super soft, but not flaky at all. It goes on so smooth, and I love this color. It's, like I said, on the nude side, very flattering. I feel like it could go with cool tone looks, even peachier toned looks, because I feel like it does have a slight peachier undertone to it. Before going in with the highlight, I just wanted to sharpen everything up. I just went in with a little bit of powder from this Essence Loose powder. I love this stuff. It feels like high-end powder, but I like it for this baking step because it's a little lighter than my skin tone, and it just does a great job with smoothing everything out and kind of bringing your look together, and it feels so light on the skin. I'll leave that link down below, also with the other tools that I use, the brushes. All right, so now going into the highlight, my point of contention with these products. So I immediately, when I first swatched it, I noticed how dry and flaky it was. I was definitely disappointed. I thought it would be more creamy for a luxury palette. You can, I don't know if it's coming off on camera, but it's flaking off, and I feel like I'm not getting like an even application on the brush. And even when I apply it to my skin, it kind of, first of all, it accentuates texture because of that uneven application. And yeah, the shade is just so odd for fair skin. I mean, my skin is warmed up a little bit because of the bronzer, so it's actually working. And I think it can work as long as I do a light dusting of this. But I just wish they went for a lighter, more of like an icier toned, like more of a pearly sheen highlight. But not even just the shade. I was unimpressed by the formula. It's chalky, and I just wish it was creamier. Now when it comes together with more of this like coral pinky tone blush, it does give me maybe Milani Luminoso vibes, but I still don't think I'll be reaching for the highlight a ton. I think I have plenty of other highlights that I like a lot better than this. I immediately compared it to my Flower Beauty. That highlight compact is so good. It's the creamiest highlight ever. Like, that to me feels like high-end. That's what I was hoping this would feel like, and I was just extremely disappointed by the dry texture of this highlight. The two other shades are super creamy, they go on so seamless. They're just so silky smooth. They feel like high-end. But yeah, this highlight, really bummed by this. And you can even see in my swatch that the swatch was uneven and a little bit unimpressive. Like, it's not the most reflective highlight, which is fine, but I was just hoping for something a little bit more out of that highlight. All right, so now I'll bring you guys to the check-in, and then we'll talk about my final thoughts. All right, guys, so it's about 8:30 at night. It was pretty much a low-key day around the house. My husband worked from home, and I was home today. I took the girls for a long ride because my 4-year-old ended up having a snow day. We just had like a light coating in the morning, and then the roads were fine, and we just needed to get out of the house. So I was actually in the car for a long time with the heat kicking. So the fact that this stayed on my face so nice and lightly, like it didn't make my face super tight. I don't have any flaking. It still looks really creamy on the skin, which I'm really excited about. And I feel like my face even still looks really dewy. Now, I do have a thicker sunscreen on underneath. I'm wearing the Dermatology Broad Spectrum SPF, which is a very hydrating sunscreen. I've gotten criticized before doing foundation reviews. You know, I feel like I've gotten comments like, oh, she didn't use the right primer. But my thing is, if I'm testing out a sunscreen, I want to see how it performs against my favorite products and how I would realistically wear it. And I always throw on an SPF underneath my foundation. So that is why I chose that SPF, and also my skin has been super dry, so I wanted to give it the best chance. And I love how my skin looks. I really do. It looks really moisturized. Now, it didn't have the best wear time. You can see I have some redness on my chin, on my nose too, and my melasma is peeking through a little bit. So the coverage definitely doesn't really hold up, but I still feel like my face looks like I have pretty full coverage foundation on. It still doesn't feel heavy. It didn't break up at all. Now the line situation. All right, up close and personal. This is real life right here. You can obviously see my fine lines. I wouldn't say that this foundation accentuates fine lines, but I definitely would not say that it smooths out fine lines by any means. I feel like my lines are actually pretty apparent. Now, the one good thing, it doesn't sink in the lines, which I feel like is so important, especially for a concealer product. And my under eyes still look really, really good. Yeah, and I appreciate that there's no dry patches. And overall, I feel like my face just looks really hydrated still and healthy, which I'm excited about because so many foundations will dry up on me and get cakey and flaky throughout the day with my dry skin. And especially being in the dry heat of my car, my face still feels moisturized and hydrated. So I'm pretty impressed with how this held up. So final thoughts on this. I am blown away by this foundation. I cannot get enough. I love the creamy consistency. I love that it makes my skin look like skin. It makes my skin look healthy and hydrated with just evening out my complexion. I feel like a little bit of product goes a long way. I feel like my complexion just looks fresh and hydrated. I don't think it looks like I'm wearing foundation. It doesn't cake up at all. You saw my under eyes. It does crease ever so slightly at the beginning, but you definitely have to pat it out, and I needed to set it ever so slightly. But I appreciate that it doesn't set to this like dry, cakey finish. And it spreads really nicely. It goes on really silky for a concealer like product. You guys saw that I needed 2 coats to achieve full coverage, but again, you don't need a lot of product, and it feels so lightweight on the skin. I think that's the one thing that impressed me most, especially being that this is a pretty thick product. I think it's the fact that, you know, a little bit of product goes such a long way, so you don't need that thick heavy layer on your face, but it just feels creamy and thin on your face somehow. So I love the finish of it. I love the feel of it. I love that full coverage I'm able to achieve. I feel like it's pretty smoothing on the skin. It doesn't accentuate lines. And you saw in my check-in, it didn't really smooth out my fine lines. Like, it's not gonna, you know, completely smooth out your texture, but I will say with my pores, I feel like my pores look really smooth and my complexion is pretty blurred. So I appreciate that, and I appreciate that it didn't make my fine lines look crepey and more dry looking. I cannot tell you, that is like my biggest pet peeve with a foundation. The fact that this kept my skin hydrated throughout the day while maintaining that full coverage without the cakiness, and the fact that this kept my skin looking like my skin, I really loved. I just love that creamy, fresh finish, and my skin actually feels nourished with this on. So I'm loving this. Love, love, love this. One thing I didn't mention in the beginning, this does have fragrance in it. It has linalool. It has no apparent fragrance to me, and I do not get any irritation. It feels soothing on the skin. I don't know if it's because it's balanced out with all those emollients and the oats in here too, which can be soothing on the skin. But I used way too much glycolic acid on my skin last night. I don't know if you guys saw in my try on, but I had some redness, and it does not feel like it's irritating my skin. It does not feel like tingly on my skin by any means. It actually, like I said, feels nourishing on the skin. But I just wanted to mention that if you guys are sensitive. But I'm loving this. This is going to be a staple. I think this will be living in my makeup bag. So yeah, foundation and concealer, A+++, thumbs up. I'm super excited about this one. And then the face palette. Another product that I think will be living in my makeup bag. However, like you guys heard, the highlight was just so odd of a choice for the lighter toned palette. It does look okay when my skin is warmed up, but I still feel like it looks kind of, it's odd. It looks a little odd on my fair skin. So I'm not loving the highlight, and I feel like the highlight was dry and patchy. It did not feel like a luxury highlight in my eyes. The blush, however, I love the shade. It's super creamy, really silky, just like the bronzer as well. One of the silkiest bronzers I've actually tried. Like I said, I want to buy the full size of the bronzer, but I do not need any more bronzers in my life right now, so I won't be reaching for the highlight a lot. But the blush and the bronzer definitely has my heart, and this will stay in my makeup bag as well, especially with that huge mirror. And this is, I mean, I kind of have a big head and this fits my whole head in this mirror, so I appreciate that, and the fact that it stands up on its own as well, I really love. It's just a gorgeous, gorgeous palette. The whole collection just looks so pretty. I almost want to try the deeper palette. I'm just really intrigued by it. The highlight in there looks like my kind of highlight, so I'm intrigued by that. But I like the neutralness of the bronzer color in here, and I love that blush shade. So I am super excited to have these products in my collection, especially this foundation. I think this is absolutely gorgeous. This well exceeded my expectations. I don't know why. I just think I expected this to be dry and heavy, but it just feels so great on the skin, and it makes your skin look healthy and just, I guess, youthful too. Like, it looks fresh and hydrated. So I'm excited about this guy. But alright guys, that concludes my final thoughts. I hope you guys enjoy this. Let me know what you think of the whole collection. Are you guys gonna be picking anything up? Let me know what you thought of the shade range. What do you think of the bronzer colors? Also the shade range of the foundation. Let me know your thoughts. Either way, I'd love to hear from you guys. Thank you guys for watching. You guys are the best, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye guys.